The front door slammed so hard the picture frames rattled on the wall. I dropped my grocery bags on the kitchen counter and rushed to the bedroom. My wife, Lena, stood there, mascara streaked down her face, throwing clothes into a suitcase like the house was on fire. Her hands shook with rage I'd never seen before. "Lena, what's happening?" I asked, my heart pounding. She whipped around, her eyes blazing with fury. "Don't you dare act innocent, Ethan. I know everything. Sophie showed me the proof." Sophie emerged from behind the bedroom door, holding her phone up like a weapon. She had this smug smile that made my stomach turn. I'd never liked how close she and Lena had become, but I'd never imagined this. "What proof? What are you talking about?" My voice cracked. Lena threw a shirt at me. "The texts, the late nights, the lies. I trusted you." "I've never cheated on you. Never." I reached for her arm, but she jerked away. Sophie stepped between us, her smile growing wider. "Save it, Ethan. She knows the truth now." Lena zipped the suitcase shut, her voice cold and final. "I'm leaving you for good." Sophie leaned close and whispered, "You deserve this." The next morning, I woke up in an empty house. Lena had blocked my number. My texts turned green and unanswered. Our shared car was gone from the driveway. When I checked our joint bank account online, my hands went numb. She'd withdrawn nearly everything, leaving just enough to avoid legal red flags. I sat at the kitchen table for hours, replaying every conversation from the past month. Had I missed something? Was I really that blind? The confusion turned into shame, then into a hollow ache that settled in my chest like a stone. My phone buzzed with messages from friends asking if I was okay. Apparently, Lena had already told everyone we were separating because of my cheating. My reputation was being destroyed in real time, and I had no way to defend myself. I walked through our home office in a daze, looking at the empty spaces where her things used to be. That's when I noticed it. A tiny red light blinking in the corner of the bookshelf, barely visible behind a stack of papers. My breath caught. The security cameras. I'd completely forgotten about them. 6 months ago, after a string of break-ins in our neighborhood, I'd installed hidden surveillance cameras throughout the house. Lena knew about them initially, but we'd both forgotten they existed after the first week. They were motion-activated, recording to a cloud server I'd set up and never checked. I pulled out my laptop with trembling hands and logged into the security system. Months of footage sat there, organized by date and room. My cursor hovered over the most recent files. Part of me didn't want to know what I'd find. But I needed answers. I needed to understand how my life had fallen apart in 24 hours. I started with last week, the days leading up to Lena's explosion. The first few videos showed normal routines, me leaving for work, Lena making coffee, our cat wandering through the kitchen, nothing unusual. Then I saw Sophie entering our house on a Tuesday afternoon while I was at work. She visited again on Thursday and Friday, each time staying for hours. I felt my jaw tighten as I clicked on the audio file. I plugged in my headphones and pressed play on Tuesday's footage. Sophie's voice came through clearly as she sat on our couch with Lena. "I'm just saying, have you noticed how distant he's been?" Sophie said, stirring her coffee slowly. Lena sighed. "He's been working a lot. The project deadline is next month." "That's what they all say, honey." Sophie leaned forward. "My cousin's husband used the same excuse. Turns out he had a whole other life." I watched Lena's face change on screen, doubt creeping into her eyes. Sophie planted seeds that day. Casual comments about my schedule, my late meetings, the time I came home smelling like perfume from hugging a female colleague at a retirement party. Thursday's footage was worse. Sophie showed Lena her phone, though the camera angle didn't capture the screen. Whatever was on there made Lena cover her mouth in shock. "Are you sure that's him?" Lena's voice wavered. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I didn't want to be right." Sophie put her arm around Lena's shoulders. Friday's recording made my blood boil. Sophie whispered, "He'll never see it coming. You'll be free soon." My hands clenched into fists. This was planned, calculated. But why? I spent the entire weekend reviewing footage, piecing together Sophie's strategy. She'd used a fake number app to send Lena text messages that appeared to be from me to another woman. The texts were carefully crafted, using phrases I actually said but taken completely out of context. One message read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. He'll never know." I remember sending that exact text to my brother about surprising him at his birthday party. Sophie had somehow intercepted it and changed the contact name. Another said, "You make me feel alive again." That was from a thank you message to my therapist after a particularly helpful session about work stress. Sophie had twisted everything, creating a narrative of infidelity from thin air. The manipulation was sophisticated. She knew Lena's insecurities, knew exactly which buttons to push. But the question remained, why would Sophie destroy our marriage? We'd been friends for years. I'd never done anything to hurt her. I was about to close my laptop when another recording caught my eye. Late-night footage from 3 weeks ago. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m. A man I didn't recognize was entering our house through the back door. My chest tightened as I watched the stranger walk through our kitchen like he owned the place. He was tall, well-dressed, maybe in his mid-30s. He moved confidently toward the living room where Lena sat waiting on the couch. "I thought you'd never get here," Lena said, standing up. The man pulled her into an embrace that lasted too long. My stomach churned as I forced myself to keep watching. They talked quietly, their voices intimate and familiar. This wasn't a first meeting. They knew each other well. I checked the next recording. 2 days later, same time, he came back. And again, 4 days after that. Each visit became more comfortable, more intimate. They'd share wine, laugh at inside jokes, sit closer together on the couch. Then came the footage from 10 days ago. I almost closed my laptop, but I needed to see it, needed to face the whole truth. The man leaned in, and Lena didn't pull away. They kissed in the same living room where she'd accused me of destroying our marriage. The man's name I learned from their conversation was Marcus. He worked with Lena at the marketing firm downtown. They had been seeing each other for at least a month, maybe longer. The camera had captured everything. The rage hit me like a wave, hot and overwhelming. I wanted to smash something, scream, drive to wherever Lena was staying and confront her with the truth. But as I sat there, fists clenched and breathing hard, a different thought emerged. Getting angry wouldn't fix anything. It would just make me look guilty, emotional, out of control. If I wanted justice, I needed to be smart about this. I needed evidence, documentation, a plan. I called my friend Tyler, who practiced family law downtown. He answered on the third ring, and I explained everything as calmly as I could. The false accusations, the surveillance footage, Lena's affair with Marcus, Sophie's manipulation. He listened quietly, then said something that changed my perspective entirely. "Ethan, if she's the one who cheated, and she's the one who emptied your account, don't get angry. Get everything in writing. Document every conversation, every transaction, every lie. When this goes to court, you want to be the calm, rational one with all the proof." He was right. Emotion wouldn't win this battle. Evidence would. I spent that night organizing files, creating a timeline, archiving every video with timestamps and descriptions. I made backups on 3 different drives and uploaded copies to a secure cloud server. If Lena tried to destroy evidence, I'd have multiple copies ready. The next morning, I sent Lena a carefully worded text from a new number, since she'd blocked my original one. "I know you're angry, and maybe I haven't been the husband you needed. Can we talk? I want to understand what I did wrong so I can be better." The message made me sick to write, but Tyler said I needed her to keep talking, to incriminate herself further. Within an hour, she responded, "There's nothing to talk about.
Sophie helped me see who you really are. I've moved on, Ethan. You should too." I took a screenshot and sent it to Tyler. He replied immediately. "Perfect. She's admitting to Sophie's involvement. Keep going." Over the next few days, I played the role of the apologetic husband. I asked about her day, apologized for being distant, suggested counseling. Lena responded with cold, short messages, but she kept responding. That was what mattered. Then she made a mistake. In one text, she wrote, "I moved money from our savings to protect myself. You would have drained everything if I hadn't acted first." I stared at that message for a long time. Confession of theft, right there in writing. Tyler's next message came quickly. "That's theft from a joint account. Keep her talking. We need more." I continued the apologetic routine, asking about the money, expressing concern about bills and rent. Lena grew defensive, explaining that she'd earned the right to take what she needed after everything I'd supposedly put her through. Each message was another piece of evidence, another admission, another nail in the coffin of her case. Tyler coached me through every conversation. Don't accuse, don't get emotional, just ask questions and let her explain herself. The more she talks, the more she'll reveal. It worked. Lena, feeling powerful and justified, started telling me about her plans. She'd rented an apartment across town, she'd consulted with a divorce attorney who told her she could get half of everything because of my infidelity. She'd even started looking at new cars with the money from our account. Every word she typed was another gift to my legal case, but I needed more. I needed her to admit to the affair with Marcus, or at least create enough evidence that her story would crumble in court. That's when Tyler suggested something risky. Record your phone conversations. If she admits anything verbally, we can use it. Just make sure you're in a one-party consent state. I checked. We were. Any conversation I was a part of could be legally recorded without her knowledge. I set up a call recorder app and waited for the right moment. The break came from an unexpected source. A mutual friend named Aaron texted me late on Friday night. "Dude, you need to see this." He sent me a video file. I opened it with shaking hands. The footage was shaky, clearly recorded on a phone at a party. Sophie's voice came through loud and drunk. "I finally got rid of Ethan for good. Lena is so much better off without him dragging her down. She deserves someone who actually appreciates her." Someone off camera asked, "What did he do?" Sophie laughed, the sound sharp and mean. "Does it matter? She believes he cheated, and that's all that counts. Some men just need to be taught a lesson." The video ended. I played it 3 more times, my mind racing. Sophie wasn't just meddling out of concern for Lena. This was personal. This was revenge. But revenge for what? I sent the video to Tyler, who called me immediately. "This is huge, Ethan. This shows premeditation. She deliberately destroyed your marriage. But we need to understand why. What's her motive?" I thought back through every interaction with Sophie. She'd always been friendly, maybe a little too friendly. She'd laugh too hard at my jokes, touch my arm when we talked, stand a little too close. But I'd never thought anything of it. I was married. She was Lena's best friend. It never crossed my mind that... Oh no. I went back through the surveillance footage, this time searching for interactions between Sophie and me. It took hours, but I found what I was looking for. 3 months ago, at a dinner party we'd hosted at our house. The camera in the kitchen caught Sophie following me when I went to refill drinks. She'd cornered me by the refrigerator, her voice low and flirtatious. "You know, Ethan, if you ever get tired of the married life, I know someone who'd treat you right." I stepped back immediately, laughing it off as a joke fueled by too much wine. "Sophie, you're drunk. Let's get you some water." Her smile had vanished, replaced by something cold. "I'm not that drunk." "You're Lena's best friend. Come on, let's get back to the party." I walked away, and she had followed silently. I'd never told Lena about it. It seemed like nothing, just an awkward moment best forgotten. But now I understood. Sophie hadn't forgotten. She'd been rejected, humiliated, and she'd spent the next 3 months planning her revenge. The next video I found confirmed it. Just 2 weeks ago, after one of Sophie's visits, the camera caught Sophie and Lena talking in the living room. Marcus was there too, sitting close to Lena on the couch. Sophie raised her wine glass. "To freedom from men who don't deserve us." Lena and Marcus laughed. Marcus said, "Some guys just don't know what they have." "How dumb men are," Sophie added. "They never see it coming." The three of them clinked glasses, smiling like conspirators. My wife, her affair partner, and the friend who'd orchestrated the whole destruction. All of them laughing at my expense. I spent the next week building my case file. Every video was tagged and organized. Every text message was screenshotted and dated. Every bank transaction was printed and highlighted. I created a timeline that showed exactly when Sophie's manipulation started, when Lena's affair began, and how the false accusations emerged. Tyler reviewed everything and whistled low. "This is airtight, Ethan. Her affair, the financial theft, Sophie's interference, you've got proof of everything." "What do I do with it?" "First, we file for divorce on grounds of adultery. Second, we seek full recovery of the stolen funds plus damages. Third, we prepare for the possibility that Lena might try to destroy evidence once she knows you have it." "She won't have time," I said. "I'm going to show her everything before the papers are served. I want to see her face when she realizes what she's done." Tyler paused. "That's risky. She could warn Marcus, hide more assets, prepare a counter strategy." "I don't care," I said quietly. "I need her to know that I know, that her lies didn't work, that the truth always comes out." Tyler sighed. "Okay, but record the conversation and be ready for anything." I went silent for 2 weeks. No texts, no calls, no attempts to reach out. Lena's messages started changing during that time. First confused, then frustrated, finally almost concerned. "Why aren't you responding?" she wrote. "Did you give up that easily?" came another message. Then, "I thought you would at least fight for us." I didn't reply to any of them. I wanted her off balance, uncertain, worried about what I might be planning. Tyler called it strategic silence, and it was working better than any argument could. In the 14th day, I sent a single text. "You'll understand soon. Watch your email tomorrow at noon." Her response came within seconds. "What does that mean? Ethan, what are you doing?" I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in weeks. Tomorrow, everything would change. At exactly noon, I pressed send on an email I drafted and revised a dozen times. The subject line read, "Before you destroy me." The body of the email contained a single line. "I thought you deserved to see the truth before the lawyers get involved." Below that was a shared folder link containing 27 video files organized by date and labeled with descriptions. Sophie's manipulation, Tuesday. Marcus, first kiss. Joint account withdrawal. Every piece of evidence, laid out in chronological order. I watched my phone, counting the seconds. At 12:04, it rang. Lena's number. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again. By 12:10, she'd called 17 times. Then came the text. "Where did you get these? This is illegal. You can't record people without permission." I smiled. She hadn't denied anything, hadn't claimed the videos were fake or taken out of context, just panic about legality. Tyler had already assured me that recording in my own home was perfectly legal in our state. At 12:15, another call came, this time from Sophie's number. I answered and put it on speaker, my recording app already running. "You absolute bastard," Sophie screamed. "You had cameras in your house this whole time?" "My house," I said calmly. "Yes." "Lena, he knows everything," Sophie said to someone in the background. I could hear Lena crying.
Sophie's voice turned sharp and desperate. "This is your fault, Lena. You said he'd never find out. You promised he was too stupid to figure it out." "Don't you dare blame me," Lena shouted back. "You're the one who told me to take the money. You said it was legal." "I said it was justified. There's a difference." Sophie's voice cracked. "Now he has proof of everything." Their argument escalated, each one throwing the other under the bus. I listened silently, my phone recording every word. Sophie accused Lena of being reckless with Marcus. Lena accused Sophie of pushing her into the affair in the first place. The friendship that had seemed so strong was disintegrating in real time. Finally, Sophie's voice dropped to something cold and hateful. "You know what? Deal with your own mess. I'm done covering for you." The line went dead. I sat in silence for a moment, then sent the audio file to Tyler with a message. They just destroyed each other. I didn't have to say a word. Tyler's response came quickly. "Perfect. File the papers tomorrow. Strike while they're in chaos." That afternoon, I received another message from Aaron. Apparently, Sophie and Lena's screaming match had happened at a coffee shop and multiple people had witnessed it. The story was already spreading through our social circle. By evening, 3 more friends had reached out asking if I was okay and if the rumors about Lena's affair were true. I didn't confirm or deny anything. I just thanked them for checking in and said the truth would come out soon. The divorce papers were served to Lena at her new apartment on a Tuesday morning. According to the process server, she'd opened the door in her bathrobe, clearly not expecting legal documents. She'd gone pale as she read through the filing, especially the sections detailing her adultery with Marcus and the unauthorized withdrawal of marital funds. All the surveillance footage was referenced as evidence, cataloged and ready for court. Tyler had also included a motion to freeze all remaining joint assets and require Lena to return the money she had taken. By noon, Lena's lawyer had called Tyler. By 2 p.m., they had requested an emergency meeting to discuss settlement options. Tyler smiled when he told me. They know they can't win. The evidence is too strong. But the best part came 3 days later. Marcus's supervisor at the marketing firm somehow found out about the affair. Workplace relationships between employees and supervisors were strictly against company policy. Marcus was fired within a week, his termination letter citing violation of professional conduct standards. Lena's work environment became toxic overnight. Colleagues who had seen her as professional and dedicated now saw her as the woman who had destroyed her marriage and cost a supervisor his job. She wasn't fired, but the whispers and cold shoulders made every day miserable. I heard all this through mutual friends who still worked near her office building. Part of me felt bad. Most of me remembered her accusation, her cold dismissal, her theft of our savings. She'd made her choices. Now she was living with them. 2 weeks after the papers were served, I received a message from Lena's new number. "Can we talk, please? Just the 2 of us, no lawyers." Tyler advised against it, but I was curious. We agreed to meet at a neutral coffee shop on Saturday morning. I arrived early, set up my phone to record audio, and waited. Lena looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy bun. Dark circles hung under her eyes. She'd lost weight, her clothes hanging loose on her frame. When she sat down across from me, she couldn't meet my eyes. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. I said nothing, just waited. "I need you to understand," she continued. "Sophie poisoned my mind. She made me believe things that weren't true. She showed me those fake texts, and I believed her. I should have trusted you." "Should have," I agreed. "Marcus was a mistake, a terrible mistake. He took advantage of me when I was vulnerable and confused. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you, Ethan. I still love you." I took a sip of coffee, watching her carefully. "When did the affair start?" She hesitated. 6 weeks ago, but it was just emotional at first. We were just talking, just friends. The camera shows differently." "You're going to trust cameras over your wife?" "Yes," I said simply, "because cameras don't lie." She started crying then, real tears that streaked her makeup. "Please, Ethan, please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll cut Sophie out completely. I'll do anything." I pulled out my phone and set it on the table between us, playing an audio file. Sophie's voice came through clearly. "Lena was the one cheating first. I just helped her find the courage to leave. She was so guilty about Marcus that she needed a reason to justify it, so I gave her one." The recording was from a conversation Sophie had with another friend, someone who had secretly sent it to me. Lena's face went white as she listened.
You knew you were cheating before Sophie showed you the fake texts, I said quietly. You needed an excuse to leave without being the bad guy. Sophie gave you that excuse. You took the money, destroyed my reputation, and walked away feeling justified. She grabbed for the phone, but I pulled it back. I didn't. The timeline is clear, Lena. Marcus entered the picture before Sophie's manipulation. You were already betraying our marriage. Sophie just gave you cover. She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. Other customers turned to look. You think you're so perfect? You think you did everything right? You were never home. You were always working. I was lonely. So you had an affair and tried to destroy me to hide your guilt. That's the truth. And now everyone knows it. She leaned forward, her voice a harsh whisper. You'll regret this. You'll regret humiliating me like this. I stood up, leaving cash on the table for my coffee. I'm not the one who humiliated you, Lena. You did that all by yourself. Sophie's life fell apart even faster than Lena's. The audio recordings of her confession somehow leaked online through an anonymous account. Within days, her voice was everywhere, admitting to manipulation, bragging about how easy it was to fool Lena, laughing about how easy it was to fool Lena. Her fiancé, a man named Troy, whom I'd met twice at parties, broke off their engagement immediately. He posted a simple message on social media. Trust is everything. I can't marry someone capable of this. The post went viral in our community. Sophie's employer, a public relations firm, quietly let her go after clients started complaining. Nobody wanted to work with someone known for manipulation and deceit. Her professional reputation was destroyed overnight. She tried to apologize through intermediaries, sending messages through mutual friends. Each one claimed she was sorry, that she'd made a mistake, that she'd been jealous and stupid, but didn't deserve to lose everything. I never responded, not once. Some actions have consequences that last longer than the moment they're committed. Sophie had spent months destroying my marriage. Now she got to spend months watching her own life crumble. Then came the message that surprised me. Marcus's number appeared on my phone with a text. Man, I didn't know she was married. Not until the divorce papers came. She told me you two were already separated. I'm sorry. I almost believed him. Almost. Then I remembered the surveillance footage of him laughing with Sophie and Lena about how dumb men are. He'd known. He just didn't care. The final court date arrived on a cold morning in November. Tyler had negotiated most of the settlement already, but we still needed the judge to sign off on everything. I wore my best suit and arrived 30 minutes early. Lena showed up with her lawyer, looking small and defeated. We didn't speak or make eye contact as we waited for our case to be called. When the judge reviewed the evidence file, her eyebrows rose higher and higher. "This is quite thorough," Judge Patricia Hammond said, flipping through pages. "Mrs. Walker, your attorney has advised you of the evidence against you." "Yes, Your Honor," Lena said quietly. "And you understand that contesting these findings would likely result in a much worse outcome for you." "Yes, Your Honor." The judge signed the papers with quick, efficient strokes. The marriage was dissolved. The house remained mine. The stolen funds would be returned with interest. Lena would be responsible for her own debts, including credit cards she'd maxed out during our separation. It was over in less than 20 minutes. Years of marriage ended with a signature and a gavel strike. As I walked out of the courthouse, my phone buzzed. An email from my company's international division. They were expanding to Singapore and needed someone to head up the new office. Was I interested? I stood on the courthouse steps, reading the email twice. A new country, a new position, a new life. Exactly what I needed. I replied yes before I even reached my car. The next 3 months passed in a blur of preparation. I sold furniture, packed boxes, said goodbye to friends who'd supported me through the divorce. Some people asked if I was running away. I told them I was running towards something better. The day before my flight, I took one last walk through the empty house. The surveillance cameras were still there, mounted in their hidden corners. I thought about taking them down, but decided to leave them. Maybe the next owners would appreciate the security. Maybe they'd never find them. My phone buzzed as I locked the front door for the last time. A message from an unknown number. "Please, I need to talk to you. It's important. Sophie." I blocked the number without responding. Some conversations weren't worth having. Some people didn't deserve closure. At the airport, I posted a single photo on social media. My boarding pass, with the destination visible. Singapore. One way. The caption read, "Sometimes the best revenge is building a better life." The post got 47 likes in the first hour. Friends commented with encouragement and congratulations. Nobody asked about Lena. Nobody mentioned Sophie. That chapter was closed. On the plane, I opened my laptop and found another message, this time from Marcus's number. "I'm sorry for everything. I hope you can forgive me someday." I deleted it and opened a document instead. A book outline I'd been working on. Lessons in Trust, How to Rebuild After Betrayal. Maybe my story could help someone else. Singapore was everything I needed it to be. The work was challenging and rewarding. The city was vibrant and diverse. I made new friends who knew nothing about my past and judged me only on who I was now. 3 months into my new life, I received a message from a burner number. "I know you hate me. I know I destroyed everything. But I lost everything too. My job, my fiancé, my friends. I have nothing left. Please, just tell me you forgive me. I need to hear it. Sophie." I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me felt a tinge of sympathy. She had lost everything. But then I remembered her smirk in my bedroom doorway. Her whispered words, "You deserve this." The months of manipulation and lies. I typed out a response. "Forgiveness isn't something you can demand. It's something you earn. And you haven't." Then I deleted it without sending. Some people didn't deserve even that much acknowledgement. Instead, I blocked the number and went back to work. I had a presentation to prepare, a team to lead, a life to live. Sophie's regret wasn't my responsibility anymore. 2 weeks later, another message, this time from Lena's number. "I've been in therapy for 3 months. My counselor says I need to take accountability. You were right about everything. I cheated first. I used Sophie's lies as cover. I stole from you. I destroyed us. I was wrong. Please, I just need to know if you'll ever forgive me." I read it twice, feeling nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Just a distant acknowledgement that this person had once been important to me and now was not. I didn't respond. Forgiveness wasn't about her peace of mind. It was about mine, and I'd already found it by moving forward. 6 months into my new life, a mutual friend forwarded me a news article. Sophie's confession videos had gone viral beyond our small community. Someone had posted them to a revenge forum where they'd been shared thousands of times. People across the internet were discussing the psychology of jealousy, the dangers of manipulation, the importance of evidence. Sophie had become an unintentional cautionary tale. Her face was blurred in most versions, but people who knew her could still identify her voice. The comments were brutal, dissecting every word, every motive, every mistake. I felt no satisfaction in her public humiliation, just a quiet recognition that actions have ripples we can't control. Sophie had wanted to hurt me in private. Instead, Her cruelty had been exposed to millions. The same article mentioned Lena briefly, identifying her only as the wife who falsely accused her husband and conducted an affair. Her professional LinkedIn was flooded with connection requests from people who'd seen the story, most of them sending harsh messages about integrity and trust. She changed her name on social media and made all her accounts private, but the internet doesn't forget. Screenshots circulated. Her story had become a warning about the permanent consequences of temporary choices. Aaron texted me, "You see what's happening back home? It's crazy. Everyone's talking about it." I replied, "I'm focused on my life here. The past can stay in the past." He sent a thumbs-up emoji and changed the subject to basketball scores.
That weekend, I decided to share my story publicly, not for revenge or attention, but because I thought it might help someone going through something similar. I created a video essay titled Healing After Betrayal: Lessons in Trust and Truth. I didn't mention names, didn't show faces, just talked about the experience of being falsely accused, the pain of discovering real betrayal, and the importance of evidence and patience. I discussed the legal process, the emotional recovery, and the decision to start over somewhere new. The video was simple. Me talking to a camera in my Singapore apartment, the city lights visible through the window behind me. No dramatic music, no editing tricks, just honest conversation. I posted it on YouTube and shared it to my social media with a simple caption: "For anyone rebuilding after betrayal, you're stronger than you know." The response stunned me. Within 24 hours, the video had 10,000 views. By the end of the week, it hit 100,000. Comments poured in from people sharing their own stories of betrayal and recovery. Some cried watching it. Some said it gave them hope. Some said they'd been falsely accused too and finally felt understood. News sites picked it up. Viral video explores healing after marital betrayal. Psychology blogs analyzed it. Relationship podcasts invited me to share more. The video that was supposed to help a few people had somehow resonated with hundreds of thousands. 1 year after the divorce, I sat in my Singapore office, looking out at the harbor. My team had just closed a major contract. My book proposal had been accepted by a publisher. My life was unrecognizably better than it had been 12 months ago. My phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. I opened it and found Lena's public profile no longer private. She'd shared my video with a caption, "This is my ex-husband's story. Everything he says is true. I was the one who cheated. I was the one who lied. I destroyed our marriage and blamed him for my own guilt. I'm sharing this because people need to know that I was wrong. He deserves his success. I deserve my regret." The post had been up for 3 hours and already had thousands of comments. Most were harsh, some were sympathetic. A few offered her grace for taking accountability. I didn't respond or react, just closed the app and looked back out the window. Tyler called 5 minutes later, laughing. "Did you see what she posted? That's the closest thing to a public apology I've ever seen." I saw it. "How do you feel?" I thought about it. Free. And I was. Free from anger, free from resentment, free from the need for revenge or vindication. The truth had spoken for itself. Justice had run its course. I'd rebuilt my life not in spite of what happened, but because of it. She thought she destroyed me, but she only set me free.